Hello guys and welcome back to Let's Talk with Matt and Johnny. Hope everyone is well. Today guys, we're going to be talking about businesses being set up through the last year through the pandemic, and also a lot of people have set up their side hustles as well. It's been a clear indication where people have found different passions, following their passion through the last year by realizing that you can actually make good money out of selling cakes, brownies, etc., etc. as well. So lads, if we I know we've, in past experiences, gone through, well, we've got our own businesses now, or had our own businesses. Matt, we'll start with you, mate. I'm going to start with you. I'm going to chuck you straight in with your paddleboarding, mate. As we've just spoke about it. In terms of like lockdown, we said this in previous podcasts. Would you have took paddleboarding so seriously before lockdown?
No, definitely. I think it's well, I mean, it was an interest of ours anyway. But also I think actually the way that we kind of just created things, obviously again, it's not a business, it's just it was a hobby necessarily, but we, again, from that that Jess and I have created a Instagram page for our experiences and adventures and stuff that we do when we're traveling around to different places and seeing different things, and getting a community, again, very much of where, Johnny, you talk about your fitness community. It's very much kind of involved in that side of things, which is great. We've absolutely, we've loved it, but it's not something that we necessarily thought could be anything. We get the odd free thing, or we are asked to promote other businesses or whatever they're doing, things like that. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's actually come out of just using a hobby as something that you could potentially earn a bit of money from. At the moment we're not really earning any kind of real money out of it. We get like commission if we sell certain things or whatever, but it's very little. But again, that could, if we stick with it, it can evolve to something much bigger, which is great. And again, like you alluded to there's other people that have used their hobbies or something that they do in their spare time just for their friends and family, normally before a lockdown, or being in your own kind of confined space. Then actually you can use that to make a bit of an extra money on the side, and especially things that we've talked about across the podcasts that we've done and the episodes that we've done, that you can that people have decided, actually, I'm going to try and earn a little bit of extra money whilst I'm on furlough, or whatever it can be, to try and bolster up their salary, or even actually leave their job that they had before, or if they have been made redundant, they've used this side hustle as their main business, which is great, and it's a great opportunity for people to do that. So yeah, there's definitely opportunity out there. Something that you thought was just a fun thing to do, you can actually turn into a fully fledged business, which is pretty cool.
I got a question for you. Have you bought any followers?
No.
Mate, that's the worst. That is the worst thing you can do. And I know a lot of new business owners do that. I think the best thing about that story you just told is that you documented it unintentionally, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's the best way, because you're just doing it because you love doing what you're doing, right? And that's like the whole point of why we're having this conversation today.
Yeah, very much so. And there's people that I know that have, you can, on Instagram, you can, on Facebook or whatever, you can buy followers, and get these kind of almost like, I want to call them like ghost followers. They're not necessarily actual followers. They're just, it just looks like you've got a following on your thing. And like I said, it was very much that we were posting stuff online or on Instagram, solely on Instagram, that we were using that platform just as a memory bank for ourselves. And we weren't expecting it to be anything other than that. And that we've just turned a hobby into something that actually people, not just our friends and family, but also other people within the stand-up paddleboarding community and other communities alongside that, like surfing or kayaking or other things as well, have also kind of just, you know, follow our adventures and follow what we do, and it's very organic and very much a way that we don't really push anything or do anything for it. We kind of just are documenting our adventures, and people like to see it. And that's the thing, it's that it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to force a situation or do anything from it. I think we're near around about just over 2,300 followers now, since July last year. So we set it up on the 4th of July last year, and within that time we've made that following just quite organically. And again, it's helped that other businesses have shared our stuff, and you know, it's very much a you know, a couple that are sharing their experiences rather than just a male or just a female. I think people quite like that demographic as well. But yeah, again, you can combine that into anything, right? You can, like I said, there's other people that are doing things that are their hobby, that they share a few pictures, a few people like it or buy a few products from them, and then it evolves into, you know, a business that they can actually survive on, you know, and actually make a decent wage from as well, which is cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
One of my clients, she won't mind me mentioning this. Basically, she loves baking. She's got a full-time job, but obviously through lockdown, there's been a lot of time for everyone to think about where their career lies, where they're earning their money. Are they actually enjoying their job, or should they go and follow their passion? But you know, obviously, going to follow your passion sometimes is a massive step. You know, for the first few months, you're probably going to lose money if you're going to quit your full-time job, earn an X amount of money a year, guaranteed money, to starting off with, you know, a couple of £100 a month, and then you would hope that would generally increase. But so she's still doing the full-time job, but I said to her, you just stick out her Instagram page or a Facebook page. Social media is so powerful, and just post. Just, you know, once a week, twice a week, the cakes she made and the brownies she made were unbelievable. And then, you know, that will carry out. And now she's making like 300, 400, 500, 600 pounds a month from just baking on the side, because everyone has so much time to do it. Extra cash is like proven to her that, do you know what, if she actually went full time and put in more hours that she's putting in now, she could actually earn very good money.
Yeah.
Another example was well into brownies. If you don't know, I love brownies.
Didn't know that. Your Instagram, you definitely know.
There's another lad that I followed as well. He's from Reading, who used to go to the gym that I used to work at, and he has got his followers absolutely massive now. I think it's about 7,000 followers, and he loves brownies as well. So he thought he was going to make a batch. Now he's like selling like 25 to 30 boxes a day through his website. And I mean, it's not the most attractive website. It's very simple. It's got a picture of what is brownies, short description, and people are just buying them like no tomorrow. But do you know what? It's so great to see. I know, Sanj, you mentioned like a couple of podcasts ago, one good thing about coming out of this pandemic is that people have started up these little side hustles or put up a Facebook page and made that first step of, do you know what, I'm going to give it a go, because they've got time to do that. And like, you know, there's a lot of people out there now that have packed in their full-time job, working in the office or whatever, and actually really putting in the grind and the work and seeing end results of following their passion. And that's something I did. I mean, I didn't work on a desk chair or did a job I didn't enjoy. I was lucky and fortunate enough to go straight into the fitness industry. But yeah, no, it's so good to see. So good to see.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is as long as, I think a lot of the time, if you follow something that you're passionate about, it doesn't almost feel like work. And I think we've all said that before, right? That, you know, if it's something that you are invested in, you don't feel like, you're not worried about getting up in the morning. You're not thinking, oh my God, I don't want to do this mundane, boring, you know, job that I have no passion for. You know, I think we're all quite lucky in a way that we are doing jobs, or we are doing jobs that we are passionate about, that we are knowledgeable of, that we have expertise in, that we are following things that we actually find interesting, you know, and we're doing stuff that we are interested in ourselves. And I think that's the thing, is that actually, I think really the pandemic has made or kind of not necessarily forced people, but it's actually given them the perspective of going, look, actually this is the chance that you can go and do something like that, and actually people are doing it. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that when things do go back to a form of normality, that these businesses are still thriving, you know, that people will still order these things from them. They will, you know, maybe expand the businesses into not just, you know, brownies, but it could be cakes, or it could be, you know, birthday cakes or special occasions or things like that, that can keep a business thriving and keep that kind of turnover going. Because I think that actually, if people are interested or passionate about something, then you'll put that time and effort into it and actually building it up. I think, you know, if you're not, then you half the battle is lost, right? Because you're just not willing to put the time and effort into it. And I think that's a big driver, isn't it?
And you're sorry, mate. You're an example of literally turning things around in the pandemic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say, before I answer that, I just feel like when you boys are talking just then, that if you look at, like, if you're out in space and you look at Earth, it just feels like someone just picked it up and just shaking it. Do you know what I mean? That's the even way to someone to describe it. I don't think it make any sense, but like, do you know what I mean? Just shaking, like the whole world, like obviously with this whole year and the whole pandemic, everything's just been shaken up, like everything. There's no one person that has not been affected by this. And like the amount of people that are just changing how they view stuff, how they view their life, like what they actually want to do. Like, yeah, like I've gone for a massive shift. Like, I didn't think it was going to happen as well, but it just happens when you know something's right. You just think, right, let me just take the plunge, especially when you start really thinking about what you are doing in that moment. So when I was working for that day job, I mean, it's just painful. Like, I just wanted freedom. I just wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to ask someone when I can take a day off and go on holiday, or take an afternoon off, or go for a nap midway through the day, or go walk a dog. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just thought, why am I grafting for someone else?
I can go back to that.
No, like I just couldn't think of anything worse. Like asking someone when I can go to the, like, I've got a dentist appointment, can I book an hour off in the morning? Like, just when you think about it now, like at the time you think, well, that's just normal. That's an employee mindset, and I get that. And Matt, I know you're still employed, but if you take your potential of what you could do with your paddleboarding, you know, audience you've grown just organically, and just having so many people that are just thinking, yeah, like I want to do it because I love it. Now I'm in a point where I'm doing something because I love it, and that's it. And I don't wake up every morning thinking, shit, I've got to wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock and do it. I think, yes, tomorrow's a new day. I've got a lot going on. I am buzzing to get going, get cracking. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, big shifts.
Yeah, and a question to both of you as well is that, you know, I know that we talked about in previous podcasts about, you know, how businesses have had to adapt, and how, you know, especially I know that, well, both of you really, Johnny, you've had to adapt your business that was predominantly very much face-to-face in a big group environment to an online environment, as we talked about before. And Sanjay, you created your business in this, you know, in this environment. So to both of you, and Johnny, I'm going to go to you first, is, you know, what has the pandemic taught you, and also what are you going to take out of this pandemic to, you know, improve or continue with your business going forward?
Well, I've said before, I think I said in another podcast that I was invited onto, if I can get through running a business for a pandemic, I can fight anything. You know, I've got stronger to deal with different situations and adapt just like that. And overnight, adapting all the time on the spot. We're adapting again. So I taught my first outside class this week. What feeling that was, by the way. You know, teaching in front of a screen, dealing with different situations like corporate's been quite difficult, quite challenging, because some people are coming back in the office and some people are working from home. So what do we do there? Yeah, it's been mad. It's actually been mad. Like, it's been like for everyone that runs a business, I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I've probably had more bad days than I've had good days. and that's never happened before. But it was how I had to overcome that and not allow those negatives to pull me down, because it could have done quite easily. One point you're just like banging your head against the wall because you just think, when is the end? And I think we were all so deep and stuck in this massive hole. There was no way out at one point. So that was a little bit of a struggle when you're looking at, like, you know, like you would as a business owner, you're looking at the loss of money that you were losing in a year, which, you know, was quite a considerable amount for myself, really, but still stuck with it. And, you know, you probably look on social media, I've kept really busy. I've picked up new PT clients, new clients from all over the place online. I've got a couple of clients in Ireland, a couple of clients in up north of England, the New Forest. I never would have picked up them clients if it wasn't for a pandemic.
Sure.
And I've learned that I could take my whole business online, but I love face-to-face too much. I love the energy and the vibe and the enthusiasm. But I can, do you know what? If I broke my leg and I couldn't drive, I know I could do it online, because I've got that experience of become confident. I've learned how to deliver online. It's a different approach. In terms of like admin and stuff like that, I probably took a back seat and gave Leanne, who does my admin, much more responsibility. That's one thing that's allowed me to take that step back to really dish out responsibilities a little bit more. One thing that also has been a real key factor for me is then, like, through the pandemic, when I've not been traveling about, I've had more time to think. Whereas before the pandemic, I was here and there and everywhere. I wasn't really thinking. I was just thinking about getting to that client, getting to that class, and giving 100% in everything that I do, but not actually taking a step back and go, right, this is what I've done. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to improve on. And I've got two whiteboards literally beside my laptop now. Of one side is literally goals that I've set myself, long term, short term, and then actually on the left side, I've got everything that I've achieved through a pandemic, because I think it's so important. Look back, and it's a very cliche to say, of what, do you know what, I've actually done this. Like, it's easy to like move. I'm very good at like going, right, I've done that, and I'll move on to the next thing, and then not thinking about what I've actually done. So, and it is quite lonely being self-employed if you're not working part of a team. You know, I'm lucky that you've got a couple of people I can talk to. I've got Leanne and stuff. You've got to review what you've done and what the outcomes that you've achieved as a business owner.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been a big learning curve.
No, definitely, and Sanjay, we'll get to you in a sec, mate. But I think really, like, the main point there is that you've been able to adapt. You're flexible now. You know that you can do that, where very much before it was probably, this is my focus. I'm very, you know, and it was kind of a bit of a tunnel vision in a sense of that you were kind of like, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to focus on, whether it's group training, one-on-one PTs, or corporate. And that was your three main things that you were succeeding in, and that's your focus. Where actually now this online thing is that actually just been added into that, and actually going, well, I can actually do that as well and fit that into my time. And again, reflecting on what you've done, I know that, you know, we've talked about this at length before, Johnny, years ago as well, is that actually, you know, when you are just getting a chance to actually sit back and really reflect, and actually I think that, again, this has caused, the pandemic has caused people to be able to do that and actually reflect on what is good, what is not, and actually you know, celebrating what you're actually able to achieve and what you have achieved in the time that you've had your business. I mean, you've had what now, 6 years, is it 6?
Yeah, 5 of them.
So, you know, the amount of stuff you've done in that time is incredible. So, you know, you've got to think, actually, to be able to do that and have the business you have, is you've got to reflect and you know, congratulate yourself and pat yourself on the back to say, I've done a damn good job. You know, and actually to be able to come through this tough year, and you know, and to be able to do that online, and to be able to have all these new environments as well that you're dealing with, is you know, you've got to say, this is, you've succeeded, right? You've done the right thing. You're doing well. So that's good. And Sanjay, obviously, as I said, you know, you've set up your business, you know, midway through last year or towards the end of last year. So how have you found that, really setting up a new business? And again, what are you taking from this, you know, to go into, and obviously you work in the property market as well. So, you know, how is that? How are you finding that for the future as well?
I mean, setting it up was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. Anyone that tells you setting up a business is easy, it's definitely not easy. It is a lot of fun, but it is stressful because there's so many things you don't know. You don't know when you're setting it up unless you've got the right people around you that can guide you through the process, which fortunately I did, but still there was obviously things that were not so easy to do. But at the same time, like, I think going into that new business, launching on the 1st of September last year, like what we were just sort of coming into the sort of second wave type thing, sort of October, November. I just thought all I was thinking to myself was just graft, just graft until March. I'm thinking like March is going to be a good time where things will start to slow down. It didn't. In January, went the other way. This country went the other way, and I was like, do you know what? What can I do? I did get in a bit of a lull. I'm not going to lie. Like, it does happen. Like, I'm human at the end of the day, but then I just got back into the mindset. And I had to really catch myself and be like, just keep grafting, just keep going, keep sticking to your goals, which you originally set out when you first decided to do this. Just have those as a reminder. And because I did, I tell you what, now, where are we? February, March, April, I'm starting to see the rewards of all that graft I put in back when I first launched it. You don't see it back then because you're so blinkered by what's going on around you. But at the same time, now I'm like, right, let's take it to the next level. You know, how do we get there? What's the plan for the rest of the year now? And like, as Johnny said, you've got to keep adapting. Like, that's not normal. Like, you don't start a business in the middle of a pandemic and think it's going to be like normal, like, you know, whereas you would normally grow a business. It's not. I had to adapt. Like, every week I was adapting to new laws that were coming out, new legislations, new lockdowns. And it was just like, whoa, like, how do we change this? Like, got to keep innovating. But the main thing is, for me, it was that I just had to be myself for it as well. I'm heavily on social media for my business, and you can tell if someone's not themselves. Like, you can tell outright, and it's just not worth it. You might as well just be down to earth, be yourself, and people will reciprocate from that, especially as a new small business. Like, I'm all about supporting local small businesses. I know a lot of them now because of what I'm doing. And you know what? Everything I see out there is just everyone just being themselves and just sharing their journey, kind of like what you did, Matt. And that's it. That's literally it. It's hard, but it's good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. You got to be realistic. No, that's the wrong word. You just got to be yourself. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Just be yourself. That's the best selling to what I can give.
Because if you're not, then you just get yourself into a rut and you're just thinking, why is it not working? It's like, because you're not being yourself. Like, I did that at some point. That's probably why I had a bit of a lull in January, because I just wasn't being myself about it. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, shift that, scrap that, like, just go back to you. And then it started, like, you know, picking up again. So yeah, it's crazy.
And also as well is that I think, and again, you know, I've owned business and stuff before, but also the thing is that speaking to other people with small businesses, and I know that Sanjo on your own podcast before, that, you know, we're talking to other business owners and things and saying, look, it's not all going to be, you know, you're not going to earn 50 grand a year from, you know, day one. You know, you're not going to get a regular monthly salary coming in. It's not going to drop in and go, oh yeah, this is all good. You know, we're all, you know, money's going to keep flowing in regularly every month like it does on a paycheck. You know, unfortunately, the realistic, you know, situation you're in with that is it doesn't. And there are going to be months where it's hot, and there's other months where it's going to be very cold, where it's going to be like, you know, it's going to fluctuate a little bit. And that's, realistically, as a business owner, or you know, starting a new business, is to have that realization. And that once you understand that you are going to have those emotions of ups and downs, and you know, financially it'll go up and down. That's, you know, as long as you are aware of that, and again, this is just talking from my own experience, that as long as you're aware of that, then that's, you're gonna be okay. Because, you know, as long as you are realistic with what you're bringing in, and it's not, as I say, as soon as you start a business, it's not going to be like, bam, you know, I've left my yearly salary behind and I'm going to earn the same again now. In the first year, maybe two, you might not, you know, as long as you're being realistic with that. But then again, there's other businesses where actually, you know, I set up, you know, 4D training group years ago now, but you know, and then obviously, Johnny, we did the boot camps and everything else alongside that as well, which was really hot. And that was right in the very early stages of the business, and it was hot.
We were earning class money on that boot camp, wasn't we?
Say again.
We were earning class money on them boot camps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was earning like £2.50 an hour doing an apprenticeship.
It was, you know, the thing was that, you know, we were, and it wasn't expensive for the customers. It wasn't like we were robbing the customers blind. You know? It wasn't like we were charging 20 quid a session. We were charging £5 a session. And we thought we want to do something that's good for the community. And, you know, if we make a bit of extra cash out of it, and it, you know, it was before Johnny set up his fully fledged business as it is now. You know, it was, let's do this as a side thing, see how it goes. If it works well, we'll keep it on for maybe a year or so, but we'll do initially 6 weeks and we'll see how it goes. And then literally the next block, we had about 30 to 40 people on, and they were regular for 3.5 years. And it was like, and we went from one a week to almost 4 a week, you know, and dotted between our home areas in Reading and Thatcham and around Berkshire. It was one of the most successful boot camps in Berkshire. And as soon as we started getting hot, you had loads of competition.
Yeah, you did.
At the same time that we were booking our sessions, we were like setting up our sessions, and then we look over and there's 2 other people doing exactly the same thing, exactly the same time in the same field. And you're like, really? Like, is that what you want to do? But then you've got to also realize that, right? If you're hot and you're doing things well, you're going to expect competition, right?
And you've got to deal with competition. You've got to deal with it. You can't go, oh, you know, you've got to be bigger and better. That I like use competition as my motivation.
Oh yeah.
I never really want to go one up on anyone, but you know, in your head, you want to go, right, I'm going to show who's I'm doing a good job here. Do you know what I mean? I never forget that. We were setting up a boot camp at Hennick and we had another trainer come up and approach us.
Yeah.
Oh, if you've got any other clients that want to come to another boot camp, here's my card. Are you having a laugh? Because he obviously saw our stuff on social media.
Yeah.
And like on a Saturday, we had 30 people on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
It was mental. Such good times.
You know, and it was, and that's exactly it. You know, there was people that were setting up loads of different boot camps. And even when we did it in Reading, we set it up for 6 weeks, and all of a sudden next week there was 3 other boot camps. You look online, you look on like advertising through, you know, these, even just the buy and sell pages, just like a little bit of an advert via Facebook, and there was loads. There was all of a sudden there was like 4 or 5, 6 other people in the same kind of postcode, really, that were doing the same thing or advertising the same thing that they weren't doing before, but they're doing it now because they see that 25 people turn up and you earn £5 a head. It's like, okay. And we were doing it obviously between the 2 of us, but that demographic is what people wanted, right? They liked the way that we both worked together, our energy and everything else. You know, Johnny going absolutely mental all the time, and people loved it. And that's why people do, you know, that's why people keep coming to Johnny's sessions now, because they, you know, we're not doing anything revolutionary. It is fitness. It is group fitness and having fun.
Like linking back to you, Sanj, just being ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
What we were doing. Be yourself.
Yeah.
You're when you express yourself, you're at your best.
Exactly.
And also, just as a tip for anyone who's listening to this that might be thinking of setting up their business, or more importantly, in the 1 to 6 month period of a new business, if you're listening to this and you're in that zone, like, give your business everything. And when you think you've given it everything, realize you're only at 40% capacity. You've got another 60% to go. That's from David Goggins. But honestly, it works, because I heard that back, was it July last year? And when I thought I was giving it absolutely everything, and I give everything, like everything, to both my businesses, I do not stop. And when I thought I gave everything, I thought to myself, no, there is more I can give. I'm only at 40%. It's a mindset shift. Like, you just think, hold on, am I giving everything? So if you are in that phase where you're thinking about setting up your business, or in the 6 month period, even up into the 12-month period, like, just remember that everything.
My GP, this sounds stupid, I had a very good relationship. My GP played football with his son. When I first set out, he said, look at your business in 4 years, work, graft and graft and graft for 4 years, and then look at your business in 4 years. But I'm still doing that now, but if you're passionate, you're always hungry.
Yeah, always.
I've just set out 3 outside classes. 2 of them are sold out because I'm just non-stop. and then the other class is not sold out yet. So that is my hunger to fill that class up. You
There
know,
you go.
hunger.
That's
Just
it.
doing what you love. Like when you start doing what you love, like people say it's like cliche. Like, oh yeah, you do what you love. Like, da-da. I say it to every single one of my clients. They're like, take a break this weekend. I was like, what do you mean? I like, what do you mean take a break? They were like, chill out a bit. I was like, me taking a break is me doing some work, editing a video. That's quite therapeutic for me. I like, because I say I love what I do, and that's why I don't really stop doing it. Like, yeah, obviously I do take breaks. I'm all about balance, but when you do what you love, honestly, you don't care. You just keep going.
I put like you can put the time, can't you, on the stories on Instagram. One of the Instagram followers said, every morning you're up at, it's 5 o'clock, 20 to 5, half 6. How do you do it? I do it because I love my job. That is literally what I say. I do it because I love it. I get up, I'm hungry, I'm ready for the day. I know it's going to be a long day at the moment, but obviously it's getting lighter in the mornings and then getting darker later on. So there's more time in the day, which makes me even more hungry to fill that time up.
Yeah.
So working long hours, but never feels like long hours because everything, it's a challenge all the time, I just love it. That's why I'm buzzing all the time.
Yeah, but that is what comes across, and that's why people, after 5.5 years of setting up the business, and obviously, like I said, we had 2 years before, 2.5 years before that of doing the boot camps and everything else, and everything else before you'd even set up JWS. So, realistically, they've had almost 8 years of you doing this, and what they're used to, and it's the same people coming. Obviously, you got new people, obviously, but it's the same people coming back regularly. They love it because of the energy and the passion that you put into it, and that's what they want. They don't want somebody who just stands on the corner and goes, "Yeah, change, yeah, 10 more." Yeah, it's boring. Isn't it? No one wants that.
Well,
You
boring.
want somebody who's like, actually gets them excited. Sometimes it's not, especially things like fitness and stuff. And again, Sanjay, in both of your businesses as well, very important is that your passion and your expertise in that comes across. Like, if you could look at two fitness professionals, or two estate agents or life coaches even together, that two very different, and some people will like the kind of slow, whatever, as a fitness thing, and they quite like that kind of side of things. But also, there's a hell of a lot of people that just love that energy, because a lot of people don't really like exercise, but they know they need to do it. And that's why they love doing what you do, because you push them for that hour and they go, I wouldn't have done that on my own.
I'm done. Sweat selfie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
on their watch. Yeah.
It's like an estate agent, though. You could have an estate agent talking absolute crap, lying to you.
Exactly.
And someone like Sanj just saying how it is, very the truth, being himself. Do you know what I mean?
And I've had first-hand feedback that is exactly the truth.
It's true though.
Exactly it.
Like I hear that all the time, and I'm like, they like say to me, "Well, do you know what? It's actually quite nice to just like hear the truth and just tell me, like, telling me exactly how it is." I'm like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" Like, and then I realize that they don't get that. They've never got that before, and that clocks to me as like, that should be the norm, and this is why we're trying to change the industry. Like, this is why we're trying to disrupt that industry. That's it. Just say it how it is. Yeah. Why lie, or why bullshit around the corner? Like, there's no need for it.
Your approach now is completely different to the standard estate agent that you have to go on their website, or there's actually, you don't really go on the website now. You've got pictures that are like 4K and you just flip through. But the stuff you're doing from the drone and coming in, and you, the face of it, that's a completely different approach to what other people are doing. So there's another tool. Be different and have your own approach. Don't look at other people and just follow their pathway or follow their way of delivering their product.
Yeah. Do you know what the biggest, I've realized this the other day, and I was having a chat with a few of the other guys, the biggest asset anyone has to their business, it's not all the fluff around the sides. Like, yeah, we do great videos. Yeah, we do all this and that. But the biggest asset that every single one of us has got is ourselves, like us as an individual. And that's the same with you, Johnny, in your business. It's the same with you and Jess, Matt. Like, it's you guys, individuals. That's the biggest asset. A lot of people say, oh yeah, you're only as big as your team, or you're only as good as your staff. But realistically, If it's you that you take priority over, everything else will fall into place. And that's what people buy into. And that's what people love. People love normal human stuff, like Gogglebox. Why do people watch Gogglebox? Because it's just people sitting there chatting like just as themselves, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly that. That's a very good analogy, actually. Yeah.
And also, why do people watch this?
Yeah.
Why do they listen to us? Because we're honest and we're not fake and we're not talking shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just like we would in the lounge.
It's our true opinions, or our experiences in life, and people can relate to that. That's all it is. We're not putting on a show. It's just us having a conversation, like any other time. But no, that's good. And again, as I say, guys, there's loads of different like nice nuggets that we put in there, throughout that. So again, listening to this, again, if you are setting up your own business, or even thinking about setting up your own business, and you were worried about doing it throughout the pandemic, and you're thinking, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel now, maybe I'll start doing it now, then by all means, take some of those things on board that we've talked about. Be aware that there is going to be competition, be aware that there is, you might need to put a financial, invest into it initially, and you might not see that return straight away, and all of these types of things. It's those things are going to happen, and we've all experienced it ourselves. But stay with it. Something you're passionate about, something you can do, then you will succeed. And that's how, however you measure your success, you will succeed in that. So but guys, thank you very much for your time again. Obviously great input from both of you, much appreciated. Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks everybody, thanks for listening. If you do want to reach us on Let's Talk with Matt and Johnny on Instagram and Facebook, and we hope to get your feedback soon. Thanks very much. Take care, everyone.
See you
Bye-bye.
later.